Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 805, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, excited to be with you once again on Tuesday evening. Always looking forward to Tuesday evening because I have some of the greatest conversations with business thought leaders and experts and people who really are passionate about helping entrepreneurs and business owners be more successful, just like you. There's so many things you need to know as a business owner that you can't possibly know them all. So it's key for you to continually learn new things that can benefit you in your business. So that's why we have this forum. We created it as an opportunity to help build your leadership skills, because at the end of the day, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to lead it. And, otherwise you're going to get stuck until you can figure out how to move forward. So once again, welcome. Excited to have you here. One of the challenges is many businesses experience low or no growth. And, that can be a challenge because in this environment, if you're not growing, you're dying, because things are so competitive that you really need to build your business on expansion and continued growth to stay relevant and to stay successful. So tonight we're going to talk about strategies to accelerate your growth. My guest is Jimmy Newson, who's always a great guest. He's such a great guest and shares such valuable information that we tend to bring him back like quarterly. There's a couple people that we bring back quarterly because they just have so much to share that can be helpful with you. So Jimmy's doing some great things in the digital marketing space, but even more so in developing programming and content that can help entrepreneurs just like you be more successful. So I'm going to let Jimmy tell you a little bit more about it. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing this evening?
I am doing fantastic. It's always good when I can hang out with you.
Okay, same here. Definitely you have long days, but it's kind of energizing at night to get to hang out and chat about things that you're passionate about. So
absolutely. I got a lot of passion to share today, bro. I'm busting at the seams, man. This shirt's like I'm like the Incredible Hulk.
You're gonna turn green on us too?
Nah, just gonna stay black.
Stay black. All right. Well, hey, I think you don't have a choice in that matter. Anyway.
I don't. And I'm good with that.
You're okay with that. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun, but also gonna share some things that are beneficial. So
absolutely,
we're really gonna get into the topic. I know many people are a little bit familiar with you, so we don't need you to go through your whole journey. But I think what you're doing recently would be good to share, because I know you were out of town last week, and I know your organization, Moving Forward Small Business, So if you could take a few minutes, just chat a little bit about those things before we get started on the topic, that would be great.
Yeah. No, like I said, I just got back from California. I was just in DC just before that, London before that, and now I just found out that I'm being sent to Amsterdam. So, I'm starting to get back out there in a big way. But there's a message. There's a lot going on in regards to small businesses, medium-sized businesses that really need a lot of support. There's a lot more competition. If the pandemic didn't teach us anything, and there's a statistic that I bring up quite a bit, that says, during the height of the pandemic, which was in 2020, as it was really starting to gain momentum, unfortunately, 4.3 million new applications were filed, which was up from 2019 when there was no pandemic. So what does that mean? That means a lot of competition. And I'm sure that's grown even more with, unfortunately, people losing their jobs, or deciding that they want to try something new. And a lot of people are picking up the entrepreneur hat, so for my organization, we're excited to be able to help support those entrepreneurs, but we're also want to support the ones that are already in business, the ones who have been in business for a while, but looking for ways to scale better, to grow better. And with digital technology, digital tools, it is a lot easier today than it was even a few years ago to compete with a bigger brand, because you have the ability to do better research. You have the ability to create better opportunities for yourself, leveraging technology, innovation, and all these things we talk about at Moving Forward Small Business. And when we talk about here at Live 805, so I'm excited that we get a chance to be in front of a lot of businesses. It helps me as a founder and the CEO keep my ear to the ground, so I can go, are we producing content that people really want, that people really need, that can actually be helpful, and getting incredible feedback that it is helpful, that it was very insightful, and it's something that they were able to act on, makes me feel proud about the work that we're doing at Moving Forward Small Business.
Excellent. No, you're doing some great work. Excited to participate in some of that and really see how you're moving forward. Definitely next year is going to be a breakthrough year for you. And,
oh, yeah.
Looking forward to that. I think, I've got a few things going on too that are pretty exciting for the coming year, and several of the clients that I'm working with. So I think 2023 is going to be an outstanding year for many small businesses, especially the ones that we're working with.
And let's even do this. Let's put a challenge out to everyone. Let's just say to everyone watching this, whether they're watching it now live or they're watching the recording, let's challenge ourselves to be bigger in 2023. And whatever that might be, will be based on where you are and what resources you have available to you. But let's all say, I'm going to play a little bit bigger in 2023, because I'm definitely going to play bigger in 2023. And there's going to be a lot of firsts for me. And it's going to be based around this topic we're going to talk about, which is strategy. So let's challenge everybody to do the same thing. And hopefully what today's conversation will actually help you achieve that.
Okay. No, that's excellent. And, one thing I always talk to business owners about is, as a small business, you should be growing a fair amount. So at a minimum, your goal needs to be 10% of growth, but really should probably be like 25%, especially if you're under $1 million in revenues. You have plenty of room to grow. And if you're under 100,000, you need to get to 100,000 yesterday. So you got to figure out how to do that. So definitely, Jimmy's going to give you some tools that can be helpful in preparing you to grow. So Jimmy, before we talk about growing, one of the key things is, you have to develop a strategy.
Absolutely.
And, everybody throws that run around strategy. But what does that really mean? So can you take a minute to share on that?
Absolutely. And shout out to Leon. I appreciate that plug, sir. Absolutely. And like you said, strategy So for us, our three pillars that moving forward small businesses, when we provide programming and create programming, it has to be built around innovation, technology, and strategy. So these are the three pillars. And then as I looked and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that's happening in real time. If you guys have ever been around me or before, is I don't hold much back, and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'll even, if I can, let you in on things that are literally unfolding in time, like right now. And what we're doing, what we're talking about today, business strategy, is as a program I recently created for the New York City Public Library. And it has now become a tool we're going to leverage across the country in 2023. That's how strong I feel about it, how powerful I feel about it. And it's based on strategy. So the question becomes, what is strategy? So let's talk about what's business strategy. And so business strategy outlines the plan of action to achieve the vision and set of objectives that your organization has, and it helps guide you through the decision making process to improve your company's financial stability in a competitive market. And in layman's term, it's a high level plan that helps your business achieve its goals. And as simple as that sounds, I think 9 out of 10 businesses who actually create a strategic plan, don't hit the goals. And I want to talk on why that is and how you can go about making sure that you do hit those goals. So business strategy at the end of the day is a very powerful tool when used properly, and it becomes the lens that you look through to guarantee to some degree your level of success. So when you talk about being able to grow 10% at certain levels, or 25%, you need to have systems in place that will help you not only visualize it, but activate it and measure it.
All right, great points. Great points. So it starts with a plan, and a lot of people are afraid of plans because they feel that it's really something. You look at a business plan historically, and it's like this pile of papers, all these words, all these paragraphs, charts. Now, is that what you're talking about? What can a plan and what should a plan look like, and what should they be thinking about when they're planning?
Absolutely, and that's an incredible question. So I'm old school that likes to play new school. So what does that mean? No more slides, no Excel sheets. You can have them. I still use them to a degree, but and this is where the innovation and the technology comes in. I'm leveraging tools, because what we're seeing is, someone creates an elaborate strategy for their business, and it's in PowerPoint, it's in Excel, it's in even Word doc. And after the meeting, you kind of pack it up and you go, yeah, we're going to come back and visit this. But the problem is, you created an incredible plan and you probably spent a lot of time and energy on it. But if you don't add some level of accountability around it, and trackability, then you will be enthusiastically going in the wrong direction, because it's not in front of your face. The thing with strategy, it has to become a part of your everyday conversation for you, for your stakeholders, whoever that may be, whether that is board members, whether it's employees, whether it's customers, clients, potential clients. The strategy that you develop has to be so in front of your face that you can immediately see when you're going off track. So we're going to be talking about a couple of tools that will help you not only create, but measure the traffic and measure the strategy, see where you are in the strategy, see where other people are in your organization that are tied to that same strategy. And you can get a big picture of where are we with this strategy that we've created together, so it doesn't go by the wayside.
Okay, so definitely, one thing is you got to have something, so you got to do your plan, but then you also have to have it so that it's usable.
You have to have it so it's
And
usable, and it's in a way it naturally integrates into your life.
okay, and it's a living plan. You know, it you don't put it away. You continue to evaluate your progress versus it, as well as you continue to make adjustments as
Yep,
you learn more and as necessary. But it gives you the tools to know when you should make the adjustments and sort of what type of adjustment you should make way earlier in the game than anything else, which can make a
absolutely,
difference.
absolutely. And I could dive in a little bit. I know I sent you a couple of slides, so we can, I want to add some context to what we're talking about before you share.
Okay.
I just want to preference this by so we just launched an accelerator, and it's called the Small Biz Growth Accelerator, and it's actually free. And right now we're running it on the Northeast coast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island. Right now it's live in New York City, at with our partner, with a couple of our partners, the New York City Public Library, Start Small, Think Big, and of course Small Business Pro University. We're all working together here, and it takes about 25 people. It's application based. But what I'm going to show you here is actually taken from that program. The program is 2 3-hour classes. So there's quite a bit here, but there's a lot of interaction within the class itself. So it's not just all listening to me talk. There's a bit of homework that's being done in the class. And then there's a bit of discussion about the homework. But what I'd like to do here is kind of give you an overview of what that structure looks like, so you can determine if this could possibly be right for you. There's an application, but there is no fee. So we want to make sure it's available to everyone, this type of program. So if you can pull up the slide 0. So what you're looking at here is the theme. So it doesn't matter who you are. This is the theme that you have to look at when you're developing your strategy. You got to look at the identity of the organization or you. And then you've got the ambition. The ambition is, what are you trying to achieve? What is that big goal, that big vision you're trying to achieve? And then we have focus. And the focus is, how do I get there? So the identity represents who you are and and what are the standards you live by as an organization or individual. Again, ambition is, where am I trying to go? And the focus is, how do I tie all this together and do exactly that? So all of this starts to make sense. And then in the middle, you've got that star, and that should be you. Okay. So if we can identify these 3 things, we're already pointing ourselves in the right direction to start to develop a strategy that's going to help us build and grow and track our business.
Okay. Excellent. So that's the model. Do you want to go into more detail, or do we want to chat about that first?
You can chat about it if you'd like to ask a few questions.
Okay. So, you've got the 3 pieces,
Right.
and you want to be in the middle there.
Yep.
So, when you're doing that, is there one area that you should focus on first, or just all of them at the same time, or how should people approach that?
It's a good question. And actually identity comes first. And again, it still goes back to that old saying on airplanes. If something goes wrong, the air masks are going to drop down. Put your air mask on first before helping those sitting around you. Why? Because if you're not secure, you can't secure anybody else. So in this instance, identity is, who am I? So if I can't describe who I am, then how am I going to work? I can't understand who I am. So understanding who you are, structuring your identity is pretty much the most important thing, because this says, this is who I am and this is what I believe in. From there, then we talk about the ambitions. Well, what am I trying to achieve? What is that big vision based on who I am, and how am I going to achieve it? So the identity comes first, then the ambition. This is what I want to achieve, and then finally comes the focus. And I think, because the focus goes based on who I am, here's what I need to achieve. And I think when most people are out there trying to grow their business, they're all focused and they haven't really fully identified the vision. The ambition of what they're really trying to do, the big picture, and they haven't fully identified who they are. And so those two things make it difficult for people to align themselves with you, whether they are investors, whether they are board members, whether they are employees, whether they are customers. The more they can understand you and your ambition and what your big goals are, your ambitions, the more they can try to support you and give you what you need. And you can also, the more focused you are, you can make sure that they understand what you actually need and what you don't need, because what you don't need is more important in this instance than what you do need, because you can get a ton of stuff, but if it's not going to keep you focused and pointed in the right direction, you're just going to be headed in the wrong direction, and you're not going to know it until it's too late.
Okay. Well, definitely that's important. First things first. And, sometimes the order can matter a lot. So excellent. Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the next step. Now that what do we do next?
All right. So let's talk about what makes up a perfect strategy. So I think I gave you another slide. Let's pop that up. And here are the things that make up a perfect strategy. And they're actually in order for a reason. The first one, that top first one is vision, values, and focus areas. So we're going to dive a little bit deep into each one of these, but I just wanted to give you like a nice little picture in your mind for this. So you start with your vision, values, and focus areas. From there, we move into objectives, projects, and tasks. And then after that, we talk about KPIs, key performance indicators. These are things that are your measurements to determine, am I hitting my goals? Am I growing? And then there's alignment, and this is the secret sauce. And when we talk about alignment is across all players in the game. You as the owner, your senior level executives, your management team, your employees, your partners, your vendors, your freelancers, your independent contractors, your customers. That's the alignment that has to come. And then finally, it's your tracking and momentum, because if you can track it, and those that have been with me when I do like SEO training and whatnot, there's always tracking. There's always tracking, because tracking helps us figure out what's working and what's not working. And then we can use that to build more momentum. So this becomes kind of like the big picture of what a perfect strategy has to have. And this is the order if you want to be able to create it effortlessly and create it with true alignment. You do it in this fashion.
Okay. So really alignment is key, and you hear that a lot. What is alignment, and what does it really mean? Like, how do you do it, and how does it work? Because
if you notice, sure, and you can alignment. If you noticed in those 5 parts, alignment's number 4. It's not number 1, number 2, and it's not number 3. And the reason why it's not is because number 1, 2, and 3 has everything to do with you before you can get alignment. And I think people go, oh, I want to do this thing, so I want to try to get people to be a part of this with me. And they go out and start trying to get support. And sometimes it's very difficult to get support. Why is it difficult to get support? Because it's very difficult for you to explain what you're trying to do. And you get it, but they may not get it. And it's because it's in your head. And parts 1, 2, and 3, vision, values, focus area, objectives, projects, tasks, KPIs, all that has to come before you start to find alignment, because you need to fully define what it is. Once you fully define what it is and the parameters from which you and everyone else should play, then it's easier to find alignment with people that go, this is what it does. This is what it means. And here's the alignment process. Do you align with it? And the answer will be a simple yes or no. So alignment is very important, but it comes a little bit later in the process. So we can make sure that we're giving the project the best visual it can have before we start to making adjustments because of other factors but the alignment will come after we've kind of went through those first 3 stages.
Oh, okay. And, going through those stages, when you have alignment, one of the key things is, consistency, and that what you're doing makes sense. Because that lends to your credibility and to your brand. So it becomes super important. So definitely these are some key things. We're going to keep moving on it, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. Just want to make sure that everybody knows about my upcoming Power Breakfast. We've been doing these events for the past 10 years, and we've had tremendous success in terms of attendance, in terms of benefits to those who have attended. And our next one is actually going to be October 27th, a reception in the evening, and then full day on October 28th, that Friday. And definitely invite people to check it out if you've never been. It's a great experience. Here's a short video to give you a feel for what the Power Breakfast is all about. We're here at the Small Business Power Breakfast and Conference. I'm excited to say that we had a great day.
This event was a wow. Every panel, every speaker has had so much amazing content and good information to share.
This is a good day to put aside to come out and do some learning, but also make some great connections. The ones that I made were impactful.
Yeah, so the importance of connecting with other people to grow my business, I really never know what leads to what. I might sit next to somebody at a conference I would have never met anywhere else, and their cousin might be the biggest client I ever had.
We kicked off the day with the Power Breakfast. Our speaker was Gene Bohinski, and his topic was maximizing the value of your business.
Most business owners don't know what the value of their business is and don't really know the factors that drive the value of their business. So 80% of businesses that are listed don't sell. And of the ones that do, 3/4 of the business owners afterwards say they were unsatisfied or they had serious regrets about the process.
And the morning speaker was excellent as well, got us learning what we needed to do in order to be able to ensure that our business could run without us, which I never even considered. And that's something that I'm going to be looking at now to make sure that my revenues are moving forward and my business is moving forward without me, which means I can make more money and work less. Otherwise, I'm just going to be in a job like I was before.
For lunch, we had our keynote speaker, Casey Carpenter, who talked about being able to sell even as an introvert.
I'm Casey Carpenter, the Sales Breakthrough Coach, and I gave a presentation today about 5 ways to dispel fear in selling and boost the revenue in your business. I have written a book called Introverts in Sales: Turn Your Peaceful Power into a Powerful Selling Machine. I myself am a painfully shy introvert who overcame a lot. My number 1 tip is to quit pitching and start connecting, because it's really through relationship building and connection and genuine like for each other that sales even happen in the first place.
I mean, why is it that we can't think of sales as something that is wonderful, where 2 people sit across the desk from each other and we agree and there's solutions and promises and it's really nice? Why can't it be that way? I believe it can.
Okay, welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, talking with Jimmy Newson about strategies to accelerate your growth. All right. It's getting near Halloween, so you're freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, I might bugging out a little bit.
or is that just all the caffeine?
Yeah, I spilled my coffee earlier, and it was probably a good thing. I probably didn't need any more.
Yeah. Cool. So, okay, so we talked a little bit about alignment and really the strategic planning. So what's next? where do
Yeah.
we go from there?
Sure. So, and there's quite a few steps. I mean, like I said, that the accelerator itself is 6 hours in person and I think about 4 hours virtual. So there's a lot to cover. But what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to give you kind of like the framework of what we're using to develop your business plan. I mean, not your business plan, I'm sorry, to develop your strategy, your business strategy. Um, and depending on the size of your business, this will be different. But in essence of what we're doing right here, I'm just going to give you a single strategy that you as a small business owner can go, this can be the framework that I'm going to use. And so if you want to share the screen, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to give you a breakdown of that entire process, which is pretty simple. It's actually 2 parts. So at the top, you're seeing vision. Under that, you're seeing values. Then you're seeing focus areas. Now, focus areas kind of double as goals, and then we have objectives. So I'm going to break this down. So to the right, there's a little bit of an explanation. So the vision, every significant action in your organization going forward needs to ultimately contribute towards this single vision. And so that's why. So if you have a medium to large company, you might have a vision for the overall organization. And then you also may have visions for departments. But as a small business owner, we just want to have one massive vision. So, and I'll take my vision. So our vision as moving forward small business is to get to level the playing field, give our small business owners a fighting chance, and reduce the amount of startup failure by 2050. That's our big vision. And so now we talk about values. So the values are what we have to adapt. And it's not just the traditional stuff. And this is where people go, our values are integrity and honesty and determination. And in all honesty, those should be there anyway. So it really needs to be more personal to your brand. And you can either find it one of 2 ways. You can find it by determining how do you feel when you deliver services to people. Look at the language that you used on your website to describe, you, or how people describe you, how they describe your business. So, and the funny thing, I had one of my board members do this to me when we were talking about values. And he was like, I was on your website and I'm reading, and he goes, what I see as a value, he goes, one thing you mentioned is giving small business owners a fighting chance. And he goes, that's kind of like a value. A value is, moving forward, small businesses, the values include giving small businesses a fighting chance. Now, isn't that more powerful than talking about integrity? Because a fighting chance means that I'm going to bite tooth and nail to make sure that you achieve what you need to achieve. And that goes well beyond probably my daily duties or the description that I signed up for when I took the job in the first place. So those values really become more personal about you as an individual or the organization. We love to, we break down barriers. That's a value. And, that means we don't give up. If we realize we don't have the answer, we're still going to find an answer. We don't give up until we've achieved something for you. That could be a value. If you could put that screen back up, I'm just going to go through a couple more things, Andrew. So I talked about vision, values, so focus areas. So focus areas are the high-level categories that your organization will focus on as you strive towards your vision. And they shouldn't have metrics to them. So it shouldn't say by 2050 or 250 new signups by. The focus areas are very generic, very general, but they're high level, to become an industry leader in the healthcare space, things like that, because that's kind of what you want. That's part of the vision. In order for us to achieve our vision, we need to become thought leaders in our space. And so from that, if you pick, I usually try to go with around 3 focus areas because it's a lot of work, especially if you're a small business. And if you're able to pick 3 really great focus areas that are different and don't necessarily overlap, then you're going to create objectives for each focus area. Okay, so each focus area could have anywhere from 3 to 6 objectives. and these are the things now that you're going to either do yourself or you're going to start to pass off to team members. And this is how we keep everybody focused on the focus areas, which are aligned with the values, which will help us get to and contribute towards the vision. So the objectives, pull that back up one more time. So your objectives define what your organization wants to achieve and are more specific than focus areas. And they have deadlines. So now you can put deadlines to certain objectives that you need to do to hit the focus area, which is your goal. And then let's go to the next slide, which kind of completes out this. And then these are your measurements. So these go under the objectives. You either got a KPI or you got a project. And the project is the vehicle that you're going to use to achieve the objective. And the KPI is the measurement that you're going to use to determine, did I meet did I accomplish what I need to accomplish? And so this here becomes the foundational structure of creating your business strategy. And now, if you're able to do this, which you should be able to do, now anything that doesn't fall under those main focus areas, which are tied to that vision, you don't do. So now you're not, and then you're looking at this on a regular basis, and I would say again, daily. So if you happen to be a team of 1, 2, or 3, or 4, you're kind of discussing this on a weekly basis. How are we doing? And how are we getting closer? Now we leverage a tool. There's a tool I'm going to introduce you to that you can pop all of this in, and then set dates, assign people to those and then you can assign someone under them as an accountability partner. And then think about this. If you're able to do this on a regular basis for, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you're that focused on that vision and those focus areas, do you understand how all this other stuff is no longer important? And the fact that you can stay that focused, you have to grow, because at the end of the day, all that is tied to some form of revenue. And so if you're achieving these goals, you should be achieving your revenue goals. And so therefore, you should be achieving growth.
That's a good way to put it. Definitely it's a very structured approach, and, it takes some discipline, but also it makes it easier for you to focus on the things that you should. As a business owner, and a lot of business owners I work with, many times it's hard to keep focused on the right things. And a lot of times we're doing the wrong things.
Absolutely.
One of the key things is sales and marketing, but you have to take time to plan and strategize. And then you have to focus on what you planned and strategized around. So this is pretty good, but can you give us some examples of kind of how this fits with your business? What are you doing, and how what's your vision, and how does it flow down for you?
Right. Yeah. So for me, the funny thing is this whole thing was created because I created goals and I gave it to my board, and I'm like, yeah, here's what we're going to achieve in 3 months, and here's our end of year goals. And after I got off the call with them, after they tore me a new one, because of course that's what my board does. They love me to death, so they want to make sure I fill in all the holes correctly. So I realized after my second board meeting that I need to hit these goals, because I have now, not only have I put it out in the universe, but I gave it to a specific group of individuals that don't play. And for the first time, it's not like me going, hey, I want to go and do this diet, I want to do this thing, and then I end up getting busy and I don't do it. And then the only person that knows I didn't do it is me. I have 9 people on my board, and every one of these people I respect. Every one of these individuals, I thank goodness that they've come into my life, and they give me a lot of support for my organization. And the worst thing I can do is betray that trust. And so that's when I was realizing, I'm like, I need to hit these goals. And it's easy, like you said, to get distracted. you're busy, but you're not working on the things that, and next thing you know, 3 months goes by like that. So it's not 6 months. It's not a year for you to go look at the big picture. It's that 3 month window. So I had to search for a system or find one or create one that could allow me to stay focused. And as I did this, I started hitting those goals. And it felt great to go back to my board at our next meeting and show them what we're doing. So, some of our big visions, some of our focus areas is around membership for organization. Another one is around a platform that we use to provide programming for the college market across the country called Unimarket. And then the third one is around sponsorships, because we do a lot of events. So we really want to boost up our sponsorships opportunities. Our sponsorship intake, so we can provide those services and provide even more and dream and think bigger. So these are some of our focus areas, which align with our big vision of supporting small businesses and being able to work with over 1 million and fully track what they're doing. Now, notice I said, I need to be able to prove that I saved 1 million businesses from failure or moving forward, small business did. And now I developed a program that allows you to track strategy for your business. And then I created the Small Biz Growth Accelerator, which I'm going to drop the link in for those, and it's free for businesses to come in to build their strategies and track their strategies. And in essence, allow me to track those strategies, allow me again to be able to verify that I at some point have helped up to 1 million businesses. And this was all because now all these things start to align. So I know they're important. And then when someone comes to me and says, hey, I got this shoe line, I think you would be a great investor in it. And I'm going, let me check my strategy. And I'm going, nope, there's nothing about shoes that's going to help me save 1 million businesses from failure. Thanks a lot, but no thanks. So this is how I'm leveraging it. And this is how I'm able to start to hit my goals. And now I'm, again, just paying it forward and going, how can we make this bigger and bring more businesses into the fold? Because it's not difficult. It just requires work, And not only does it require work, it also requires you to be very clear on what is it that you're trying to achieve. And when you really know what you're trying to achieve, everything else becomes a little easier to determine, because in order to achieve it, there's usually only a very few things that you can possibly do to achieve it. So which ones are you going to choose?
Okay. All right. So no, definitely. It's definitely changed how you look at your business, how you've looked at business in general. And one reason why many people probably don't do this is it can be scary. Like you said, with your board, you had some uncertainty and probably a little bit of fear and worry as to whether you were up to it, or whether what you were going to do was going to be up to their standards.
Absolutely.
But it's good to have that. If you don't run into that in your entrepreneurial experience, you're not taking enough risk.
Absolutely. You're not. And again, how do you expect to grow if you don't come out of it? And this is going outside your comfort zone. Or even more importantly, just, if you're fearful of setting huge goals, set smaller ones and achieve them. And stay focused, but do make sure that they are something that can still give you a 10 to 25% growth return on your investment.
Mm-hmm. And one thing is, at the end of the day, the results are important, but that's not the most important reason why you do this. Because by doing this, it creates a process for you to learn more about your business, understand how it performs and how to improve upon it. So maybe you don't hit your goals now, but you learned things that you need to do to hit them next time.
Absolutely.
So it's always a learning process. It's always a journey, but it's important to take the first step and put the work in up front. Definitely that you got to do that if you're going to be successful.
Absolutely. And I apologize for anybody. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if anybody is chatting. I'll go later to those different social media channels and chat up and respond if there are any. So Yeah. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I can't. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. And definitely appreciate chat. And if people have questions, you got Jimmy right here. So don't hesitate to ask, and we'll make sure we get to those. So now, from this step, I've definitely seen you grow a lot as a business person.
Mm-hmm.
And, what would you say, if you had to tell your old self how to get to where you are now, or what would you say to yourself? Because it's a whole different mindset and a whole different a lot of things. So what would you tell yourself to help you guide you to where you are now?
I think what I would tell myself is to slow down and just and focus, because at the end of the day, you gotta, focus on something that's worth it, and then that could become that foundation that you build everything around. We're inundated with tons of opportunities, and we're inundated with tons of ways of getting things done. Sometimes it's just easier to just sit back and go, what am I trying to achieve? And then what direction can I go with? And then stick with that long enough. But, if you don't understand what you're trying to achieve, and you can, and I can always tell when someone's not sure what they're trying to achieve when they're giving me 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different options. That means, well, I'm kind of doing this, but I really want to do that. But maybe this, and I'm going, pick something. Find a reason to want to pick one thing over everything else, and then go with it, and because if it doesn't work, then just hopefully you're learning fast enough and then move to something else. So really just getting focused, because focus has really been a strong part of what I'm doing lately. And, and it's kind of in strategy is to focus. Some people think that building a box around yourself is confining, and it's actually the total opposite. It gives you the freedom to be as free as you want to be within the constraints of that box. And now you have no fear and you're just going.
Okay. So no, definitely. Even though it feels like it might be a little confining, it's really just targeting you in the right direction and give you the freedom to perform more successfully. So now you mentioned your board. Yep. And really they are instrumental in helping you to take some of these steps.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the we've talked a little bit about kind of the feedback they give you and what they bring up to you as you're presenting things. Can you share some of those? Because I think others would benefit from that too.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing to do. And thank you, LinkedIn user. I try to be as clear and concise as possible. My first board meeting, they ate me alive, and I kind of knew they would. And this is where you kind of not take things personally. They have your best interest at heart. If you pull together a group of individuals who are interested in helping you with your business, helping you see things you can't see, you need to listen to them, especially if you handpick them, if you respect them, because if not, they won't want to contribute. So I had to go in there with an open mind, and I had to remove this phrase, I know. Take that out of your vocabulary. That's a major pet peeve of mine when people call me up to do services and I talk to them about things. Like, yeah, I know that. Well, if you know that, why are you talking to me? I'm just like, just be humble and just listen, because sometimes you'll go back later and it'll resonate with you differently when you think about it later, and you'll be like, well, why don't I? And I had a couple of those. I had, one of my board members, a couple of them didn't get what I was trying to do at first. And what I ended up taking away from that was I wasn't clear enough. So what sounded clear to me was not clear to them. And if it's not clear to them, it's not going to be clear to other people. So I needed to be very clear and I need it to be extremely just like I don't know the LinkedIn user. It needs to be clear and concise. Period. They need to be able to go, yep, I get it. Take away the jargon, take away all that crazy nonsense, and just be like, we are a tool for blah, 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 and small business owners. That's it. I don't care if you're the first, the last, the everything. That was from a man, Barry White. But you get the idea. Just keep it simple because they need to understand it. And when they understand it, now they can start to engage with that. So, one thing, one of my board members, he drilled me on was how are you different? He goes, I know you're different from the chambers and the libraries and this and that with your trainings and teachings, but how are you different from MasterCard and American Express and Visa when they also serve small businesses? And I didn't have the answer at that time. And I now say I do have the answer because it was something that I really need to answer. I couldn't keep glossing over and going, well, we're different because no. You need to figure out what it is, and that's why they're there. They're there to challenge you, to make you the best possible individual and the best possible company that you possibly can be. And when you're able to find it out, it's extremely rewarding when you're able to finally answer those questions, those tough questions that you kind of you gloss over. I hope that answered the question, Andrew.
No, that was definitely good. I mean, I think that, especially you got to be humble enough to listen. One thing about, talking to people about business and your business is you also have to have the right people. You have to have people who understand business. You have to have people that, want to see you successful. And you have to have people who aren't afraid to tell you what you need to hear. Mm-hmm. Because, nobody's stuff is perfect. So if your board members don't have any recommendations or any feedback or ideas for you, then you probably need new board members.
You absolutely they have to be there. And I'm surprised. I mean, I think I thought of everything. And then I get to my board meeting and they start hitting me and I'm like, damn. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. Give me a minute.
Yeah, but
you love it. You love it, and you actually start to look forward to it because think about it. And I don't know if anyone here has a board. I'm not a big organization, but and this is again, so you ask yourself why, as a small business, because they usually say you shouldn't get a board until you have some success. And that's not necessarily true. If you have a track record and a new business, but you have a track record, that acts as a level of success. But 2 goes back to that vision and that mission and that purpose and those values. Most of the people that work with me that are way above my pay grade are doing it because of the vision that I've set out, and they want to be a part of the vision. That's why when you go back to that structure I showed you, when vision is up top, that's how powerful vision is. And if you don't have a vision statement that is huge and can really rally people, then you're not thinking big enough, 1. And 2, this is how you get people to go, I want to help you do that. Even though you might be here, if I can help you get here, you can do that. And I could be responsible for helping you do that. Everybody wins because everybody contributes for different reasons. Those that have it all and have done all these amazing things, they're doing it for give back, but they still don't want to waste their time on someone who doesn't appreciate it or deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So definitely those are key things. One thing about this show is it goes too fast. Even though it's an hour, it disappears way faster than you would expect. So I look up and I'm like, man, we're almost done. So, definitely a lot of this stuff is very insightful. Jimmy's doing some great things with moving forward small business. Before we close out, he's going to share how to get access to more stuff. And between the accelerator, but there's just a lot of great programming on the site that's at no cost to you, but very professional and very valuable information for business owners to know. I'm a little partial because Jimmy and I are doing a series, a 12-month series on maximizing your profitability. So definitely,
check that out.
Yeah, you want to tell them a little bit about that and how it came about?
Yeah, and this is again going back to partnerships. I'm all about partnerships and relationship building, finding that triple win for the end user, win for the partner. In this case, Andrew Frazier and Small Business Pro University, and win for you. If you serve those first two wins, the third win becomes obvious and easy. So Andrew, I'm not an expert in finance. I'm an expert in marketing and sales and some form of leadership now. And Andrew is a lot of things, but one thing he's definitely is good at is finances and profits and finding profits and all that stuff. So I'm like, let's create a program for the audience, because again, it's the audience that has to win first, and we, it just becomes easy when you're kind of in that frame of mind. And again, it aligns with my bigger vision, purpose, and mission, because I need to save 1 million businesses from failure. Okay. So everything I'm doing, and when I reach out to partners, I need, I have a few questions. Hey, do you serve the small business community? How do you do it? Is it education based? Are you just trying to sell them something? Because then I have to make a decision. Well, how do we work together? And how do we, again, stay true to my vision and my mission? What's your vision? What's your mission? How can I help you with that? Is there alignment there so we both can benefit from that? So there's a lot of things that have to go into the process when it comes to me thinking about these things. But it's a lot easier when I know the big picture and I know the vision, and all I got to do is figure out after one or two conversations with someone like Andrew, how can we actually do something that benefits everybody and keeps us all focused.
Definitely. So, what we do at the end is always like to sum things up, because we always talk about so many great things that it can be a little overwhelming for people.
Absolutely.
So, what I want you to do, Jimmy, is sort of think about, for people who are listening in, what are the three most important things we talked about today? What should they take home with them, and what should they start doing tomorrow to help them be more successful about business? You can take a second to think about it.
I can do it right now.
Well, I want to share a little bit about the university. So we'll take 1 minute.
All right, I'll take a break then.
For those of you who are new to us, we do this through the Small Business Pro University, where we provide opportunities for entrepreneurs and business owners to really grow and be more successful. So here's a little bit about it, and then we'll be back talking with Jimmy as we're getting ready to close out. Do you own your business, or does it own you? Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello. My name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program, or just simply choose the courses that you need at www.sbprou.com. We will empower you to thrive and not just survive, and make more money in any business environment. Okay. All right. Welcome back. I'm here with Jimmy Newson, the Impact Influencer, and we're talking about accelerating the growth of your business. We covered a lot of great topics around strategy and how to do that. But what are the three things that people should zero in on what we talked about? And they should start really tomorrow putting these into play so that they can move their business forward faster and easier.
Yeah, I think that the three things that you can do, one, is to really determine what, revisit your foundation and determine what is the vision. What am I actually trying to achieve? And I'm not talking about in a year, in a few years. I'm talking about in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, your future pacing. So where am I trying to see myself as an organization? Or if you are the brand, me, in that time period, because that allows you to work backwards from that. So you have a straight line to where it is. Now, it doesn't mean that it's linear. You still may jump around, but the end goal is the most important. So one is really to define that big vision. Two, define what the your values. What do you stand for, and go beyond the standard ones that most people use: integrity, trust, honesty, and look at I remember there was one of my mentors shared that he went to this Michelin restaurant in New York City, and their values were based on I want to say the rock group. I want to say Rolling Stones. So some of their values were I forget what the value. They were actually really good. I should probably look it up. But they weren't integrity. I mean, it was really about having fun and playing your heart out, things like that, that are really more emotional for someone to want to get behind you in your business, because they can really identify with the way that you have fun. I think Zappos has, one of their goals is around, being free in the office and having fun. And you see that when you go to their office and you got beach balls flying all over the room and and all kind of other crazy stuff, because that represents the values. They want you to have fun when you come to work. Okay. And then the third is we have the accelerator. It's live. We have our next batch coming up in November. Andrew just dropped the link in, sign up for it. You have to fill out an application. But we'll contact you if you're able to get in. We have the app. We have it's live now in New York City for November. We're closing in locations in New York, on Long Island, New Jersey, and Connecticut. So you can sign up for the waiting list there. And once it's open, then you can fill out the application, because we help you do these things. And like I said, it is a pretty labor intensive thing if you want to get involved, but it's only because you're just starting. The more you do it, the easier it will become. And if you can internalize it, man, it's game on.
Excellent. So no, those are three great things. So really, everybody says you need a vision, you need a mission, you need values, but to really get it and understand it, that's really what you're talking about. Something that really represents you and your business and where you want to be, and to personalize it. So, definitely doing that. And then same with the values. Both of those things need to be something that motivates you, because if they don't motivate you, how is it going to motivate anyone else to work with you? So excellent. And then the accelerator, you get a chance to really dig in deep on this. So thank you so much, Jimmy. Always a pleasure. Love to have you as a guest. You're just a wealth of knowledge, and you're continuing to learn, move forward, and be able to share a lot of the key things that you are learning, because you're going through the process.
Yeah.
And some people talk like they never made a mistake in life, or they never they knew everything always.
I made a couple last week. I think I made one yesterday. So yeah, mistakes is a part of the game.
But talking to you while you're going through it is really key, because it lets people know what it's really like, as a business owner. Always appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join in. So definitely excited about that. So we will catch you. We'll probably have you back on early in 2023, which is really crazy, because this year doesn't seem like it's almost over, but it is.
I wanted to slow down. I got goals to hit at the end of the month, so it can slow down a little bit.
Well, you better get on it. So, all right, thanks again, and yeah, hang out for a minute as I close everything out. So, okay, well, first I'd like to thank Jimmy, but also thank the audience. Always appreciate your comments, your questions, your ideas. Also, just being engaged. We're really doing this to share things that could be valuable for you, and getting your feedback, your thoughts. Definitely is appreciative. So each week we have tremendous guests, and Jimmy's really bringing some valuable stuff. Next week we actually have Dr. Sandy Webster, and we're going to be talking about unconscious bias in your business. Definitely that's something important that can hurt your business, and you don't even know you're hurting your business. So understanding some of your tendencies, some of your biases, some of the biases that can come into place with businesses is really important. So definitely, hopefully you can join us next week. As always, we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also we're on STEM City USA. So we're on the metaverse. So you can check us out there, and you may even want to check out STEM City USA, see sort of what they've got, because they've got some tremendous content. They've got their own city, and it's a 2D metaverse, but they're evolving and doing some great stuff. And so once again, appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, and look forward to catching you next week. And always remember, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster your business will grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.